My name is Ray Anderson, and this is my story. My brothers and my sisters, we greet you in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Right here is where Aunt Pauline, my family lives. Right here, right where we're at, about here. Out there. Sam Thomas was on the opposite side of the street, Caveman on that side. You had Derek Upshaw about right there where that White House is. We was up in that, close to that area. Randy Upshaw, one of the top lawyers in the state of Michigan, lived here. He had a criminal life, and then he had a law enforcement life. So you had a lot of the Johnsons lived down here. Facebook friend Ramo Johnson and his brother Marcus Johnson. Many people came out of this area. If you ever heard the story about Young Boys Incorporated, you might as well say that was us. Believe it or not, my aunt stayed with that parking lot of Swanson is at one time. But we used to go and play in Swanson's. Another historical part of my life. Here's Nichols. I think it's John F. Nichols. Here I was a member of the Mellotones. We had a singing group. Used to sing in the auditorium. I was in plays. Johnny Appleseed, Paul Bunyan, and Christian Anderson. And right down on this corner here, Golden, there was an auditorium teacher. One day after school, she was heading to her car, and a man asked her for a light. She said that she didn't have one. A tussle ensued, and sadly, I didn't know until recently, she was killed. I always had in my mind that she was injured and just left, maybe because of the neighborhood, because of the racial tone, but she was actually killed. A friend of mine told me by a friend's brother that we knew. So auditorium was never the same after that. There were no more plays. The Mellotones slowly ceased to exist, but I was in the Olympics here at Nichols. I was the third fastest runner in the school, behind Larry Boykins, Robert Williamson, and of course yours truly, Ray Anderson. And I was on the safety patrol, lieutenant of the safety patrol. I was a sort of an all A and B student, mind you. One of my friends recently said, "Go Chief," which is my nickname. He said, "We used to come over your house and look at your paper and steal your homework because you was an A-B student." I said, "I never knew that." At 65 years old, I said, "Y'all used to steal my work?" He said, "Yeah." James Johnson, so Junior. And so Robert Bass and I, Leroy O'Neal, you name it, Alvin, even Alvin Ward, Mike Anderson, a lot of people came, our family, yours truly, Rosa Martin rather, and most of our family came out of Nichols Elementary School. Remember, we used to come through here one time. They had this is historical. They had police unit called Stress, and me, Tyson, and Rob Dog, and be all the nicknames, and Moon, and Mike saw some white guys in the neighborhood. This is a funny story. So we called ourselves. We said, "Okay, we're gonna throw some snowballs at some white boys. What in the world are they doing in this area?" Not knowing that it was Stress. So we hit the first one in the head with a snowball, and they pulled out their weapons and told us all to get against the car. And they didn't place anybody under arrest, but that was a sort of a funny story. Where we're here heading now, we're in a historical Indian village, heading toward, which was back in the day, when you came in this area, I had cousins that lived down where we're heading now on the infamous Beale Street. And if you didn't know nobody down here, once you crossed right here, Maxwell, you had to state who you knew. It was almost like it was a guarded unit area, and you had to explain who you knew and why you was in this area. And that is a true story. People that lived on the west side, you would bring up Beale Street and people knew. Oh man, you couldn't go on that street unless you knew somebody. And so we're at Van Dyke. Van Dyke was also a historical place. You had Miss Lewis, mother, worked in Dotton at a shrimp hut. I used to call her the lady with the red hair. The lady with the red hair who recently passed. Now this is Beale Street. We're gonna Yeah, you know, one thing about coaching at City High, I've always had two jobs. The second job was a midnight job at Oakland Mall. Man, I remember when I would be at home before time to go to Oakland Mall, man, for some reason, my kids would be saying, say, Dad, you all right? You know, you get enough sleep? You good? And close to, we get time close to 10 o'clock. I think it's time for you to go, Dad. And I'm wondering to myself, I'm like, why in the world is it that these kids seem like they trying to get me to get out of this house? Man, little did I know when it all hit the fan that when Coach Pastor Ray left the house, the back door would open and the party would begin. The boys would bring the girls in. They would hit the upstairs while First Lady was asleep. And man, oh man, I thought I knew everything. I thought I had it all under cover, but they had me fooled big time. You remember that?
Yeah, but what he didn't know is, like he said, I true enough I was asleep, but I didn't know
Asleep.
all of this was no, I didn't know all of this stuff was going on until the next day.
So they
So
had you good. So they had you good. That's terrible to do First Lady like that. And First Lady is a also in her lifetime, she's a nurse. She was a nurse. Is that okay? Nurse for Pastor Taylor, Pastor Savina Lachelle, Apostle, I should say, Savina Lachelle Taylor. She was a nurse at our former church, but I think she really enjoyed the
yeah, I
personal
enjoyed
with,
working.
with
I
Pastor
enjoyed not
Taylor.
working. It wasn't work. It was a pleasure because um, I could get, I would get close to her, like when I would be taking her, her water. Um, I could feel this warmth around her, like I
Spirit.
want to say
Yeah.
a kind spirit. But also, she was actually one of the first ones that I nursed with. She nursed with or for. She really wasn't a type of like. She wasn't used to having a nurse. Um, so she didn't like. She wasn't demanding or anything like that. She's basically just a beautiful soul, and it was just a pleasure to be her nurse. And she said I'm her only, always nurse. So
And
I'm proud of that.
she really enjoyed it because First Lady was she never had a nurse, so it
Right.
was a beautiful experience to her. That's more what it was. She felt so overwhelmed of the kindness that First Lady had, with that good heart, and to bring that to her church, man, I think we could tell she was so happy to have us there and to have that nurse. She always say, Nurse B, and tell Nurse B, and my nurse, and that's my only nurse, and this is y'all home. This will always be y'all home. So you think, and you always the experiences uh, that we've had. You look at us now. I hope you don't look at us and can tell that we got 8 kids and 23 plus grandkids. Got man, and his eyes turned red when he lost that tournament game. Man, now you remember that when
Oh yeah.
Josh was beating everybody, man. I mean, we had the wrestling game,
His eyes turned red.
and finally, after beating everybody in the house, he finally got whooped, and his eyes turned as red as the Incredible Hulk. He started heading to my mom's house, man, and I mean, I've never seen him that mad. And they used to have wrestling matches upstairs, and I mean, they had him so bad that they actually knocked holes in the wall. Another funny story when I was coaching. I don't know, First Lady, you remember when I was coaching at City High, and while I would be coaching, they would take the van and drive,
Oh.
go to all kind of areas, and just be out of there. There's so much.
I wonder who would be doing the drive.
Man, some is
Hanging out the window, others are hanging out the
some is not even made for YouTube. Some I can't even tell on YouTube. It's just like you're talking about the Chamber Brothers or the Curry Boys. You could put the Anderson family right along in there with the Aunt Wally, the head mama, Clyde, rest in peace. Michael, Sophie, y'all rest in heaven. Larry, holding it down. So it's been a heck of a story. And Grandma Betty, Granddad Leroy, and all the ones along the way.
looking down on
Yeah,
us
yeah. So this been a story. So I hope you guys enjoyed it because it's real. It's so funny and it's so spectacular that it don't even seem real. But this is I mean, we lived like, man. Sometimes we had to literally duck and run and hide, shootouts and westerns. Something else. She been through it. She been through it. Being Coach Chief's wife ain't been an easy job. Not an easy part of my life to tell, but somebody might benefit from it. 1974, summer's day, sitting on the porch. I ain't going down on Bills. I ain't going down on Van Dyke. I'm just gonna chill. But my buddy George come by. Hey, Coach Chief, which was my nickname. Everybody called me. Hey, man, I got this pill. I want you to try this pill, man, and take half of it anyway. I don't want to bug out by myself. It was a thing called bugging out. So peer pressure, call it what you will. Good friend, take half of the pill. Go down on Bills. Down on Bills, we drinking. We hanging out. We drinking beer. I tried some corn liquor that night. Everything. George had to go home. George go home at his 10 o'clock time. Leave Coach Chief down in the neighborhood. Coach Chief smoked some weed at the Reed's house next to Aunt Waleen's house. All of a sudden, whole life changed. I looked at Sam, lived across the street. Sam turned into somebody else. I looked at Caveman. What they tell me, I grab a knife. I go at Caveman. Caveman turned into something else. I'm running at everybody. Cousin Rob, rest in peace, said it was a 12-alarm fire. He said, Coach Chief, let me tell you. He said, you went in that house. The firemen couldn't stop you. You went in that house, went in the fire, came out like Damien on the Omen, on the one of those movies on television without a burn on you, hollering and screaming. My mom, they called my mom. Somehow my mom made it over there. They had to hold me. They had to take me to the hospital. But it was one of those things in my life where I say this. They used to ask me, was I willing to tell this story? It may help somebody else. Never was willing to tell this story until now, because it may help somebody. So I know about depression. I know about, and during that time, let me tell y'all, these people took over my whole family. Everybody, including my mom, looked different. And it was like everybody was trying to get me. And the whole key was if I fell asleep. If I fell asleep, they were it was like they were going to kill me if I fell asleep. And every New Year's, it was crazy. Every New Year's, when the 12 o'clock hour came in, I would always pray that I would go back home. I wouldn't tell nobody if I could go away from these people. And when the midnight, they would look like they would be shaky. They would all be looking at me. Oh, don't let them go back. Don't let them go back. And when the New Year's would come, Happy New Year's, everybody was looking at me. Yeah, he's still here with us, you know. And it was one of those kind of things. But I just want to warn you all, that God is real. There's spirits real. When you take these drugs, young people, and these drinks, you be at these bars. They put stuff in these drinks, and you don't want to go on those kind of rides. You don't want to go on those kind of journeys. But God did that. And that was the lowest I've ever been in my life. My friends I used to drink with, they stopped coming around. All of the guys I hung with stopped coming around. All of them are dead, except for one. See what God can do? But I'm still here. I was able to get my this wife, 8 kids, 23 grandkids, a career of coaching, just so many things has been afforded to me because God gave me another chance. He saw fit to let me go through and pull me through, and He chose me. He didn't call me. He chose me. And here I am.